I think I can speak for the majority of the country when I say a visit from TV licensing on Christmas Day is not welcome. Even if you support the TV license fee and, of course, the BBC, which I know many of you do, well, some of you do probably, but I still don't think any of you that do support TV licensing and the BBC would welcome a visit on Christmas Day or the threat of a visit on Christmas Day. And I think it's safe to say that the vast majority of people around the country would also not think it is an adequate apology for TV licensing to just say, which they have, these letters were sent in error, and we apologise to anyone who received one. There will be no visits on Christmas Day. So let's talk a little bit more about this, shall we? But if you're new to me and you're wondering why I've popped up in your feed, I'm Daniel Shensmith, a barrister of England and Wales, and I'd be really grateful if you hit that big button below that says subscribe, because I'm aiming for 1 million subscribers. I am growing fairly quickly, thanks to you for watching, subscribing, liking the video and sharing, and I'm really grateful for that. And I'm really grateful as well to all of you that send in letters and complaints, really, of different things that I can look at for you, because there's so many different legal aspects that I can perhaps help you with. It's not a replacement for legal advice, but I can certainly help you with that. I can even help you draft letters with my new chatbot, which I'll link in the description below. It's part of my monthly membership package, and I humbly think that for $14.99 a month, I think that's good value. But let's get to this letter that one of my viewers sent in. I think I've already talked about this one previously, but I'll talk about it again because, as I said, thousands of these letters went out saying, will you be in on the 25th of December? Now, I think that was deliberate. They say it was sent in error. And they say they apologise for anyone who received one, and they say that no visits will happen on Christmas Day. Well, first of all, I should certainly hope not. But my personal view, I don't think this was a mistake at all. I personally think this was deliberate. And I'll tell you why. Because I don't think these letters are completely automated. I think there is at least some involvement, some human involvement in doing these letters. And if nothing else, somebody is physically handling these letters to put in the postal system. There's probably a high degree of automation, I would imagine, with the thousands of letters that they doubtless send out, but there will be, I think, at least some level of automation. If anybody wants to whistleblow and email me in confidence, I will absolutely maintain your confidence as a barrister, and I would love to hear from you. The email address is contact@blackbeltbarrister.com. I'd love to hear from you. I'll need proof that you work for them and so on, but I will maintain your anonymity. Just don't email me from an official address. Email me from your own address, but provide me proof. I'd love to hear from you. But as I said, there must be some level of human intervention and involvement in drafting these letters. Even if there's a template, even if the vast majority of it is already written, it's already there, even if there's placeholders, just like many law firms use an automated system with a template system, and there's little bits that you put in extra details and whatever, and the rest of the letter is automated, say for, client care letters and things like that. I think there's probably a whole bunch of templates like this, but here's what makes me think that that there must be some human intervention here, because the 10-day window and the date that it's sent and the date that they put in here, you only have until the 25th of December to act before this window closes. Someone somewhere must be calculating the 10 days and the date that it's sent, because let's say they're printed on one day, someone somewhere must be typing in that 10 days from the date that it's sent is whichever date. And this one is the 25th of December. And thousands of people have had these letters go out telling them that there might be a visit on the 25th of December. Now, I'm just looking for an X post here. There's an X post, and there's lots of these X posts, but lots of people saying, this one from Stephen here, saying the BBC are getting desperate for people to get back to paying their scam TV license, he says, that they're threatening to send people around on Christmas Day. And so this is a variation of this letter. Will you be in on the 25th of December? As there's no record of a TV license at your address, expect a visit from an enforcement officer. It may be on the 25th of December or another day. You can be prosecuted if you're caught watching TV, etc., etc., etc. We visit 5,000 addresses a day. Now, I'm not sure how true that is, but them saying that they visit 5,000 addresses a day and that they might come around on Christmas Day or another day, this can amount, in my view, to an abuse of the system, an abuse of the law, an abuse of the status of TV licensing, which is a trademarked operation on behalf of the BBC that collects the TV license under this, what many people view as an antiquated legal requirement to have a license to watch or record live TV. Now, here's my personal view. Christmas present for you. I don't often give you my personal view on this channel. I usually reserve that for Black Belt Secrets, link below, along with my money channel, link below as well. Go and check that out as well. My personal view here is this. I don't think it's fair. Shock, horror, surprise, surprise. Many of you may have worked it out already. I don't think it's fair. Why? Because this fee does not support every other TV station. It does not support the likes of YouTube that has live broadcasts. It does not support Netflix. It does not support Amazon, etc., etc. And yet, if you watch or record any form of live TV from any platform, from any station, anywhere in the world, on any device, anywhere, anytime, save for the exceptions. There's an exception about using something which is solely battery powered. We'll cover that in another video. But aside from that, it doesn't help any of those platforms. And yet you're required to have one if you watch or record live TV or you consume BBC content on BBC iPlayer. And it's not just that I don't think that that is fair. It would be a bit like saying if you ever work out or if you ever do any kind of running and fitness and whatever, then you've got to pay this fee that only supports this one, sort of official state-owned gym or something like that. If you never use that gym, but if you go to any gym or you do any kind of exercise anywhere, anytime, anywhere in the world, you have to pay this fee to them. It's a bit like that, and I think that's ridiculous. But it's not only that. Even if you're against me on that, and even if you think, well, we should support the BBC, because there are lots of arguments for the BBC. There are arguments to have an impartial, he says, knowing that some people don't think it's impartial, but it's right that we would have an impartial organisation that brings you unbiased news. He says, again, knowing very well that many people don't think the BBC is unbiased, but that's not for me to comment. But nonetheless, even if you support the BBC, you may still be against the TV license in principle. And even if you're not, even if you still, after all that, you still support the BBC TV license fee, you probably, I dare say, would not support, at least I hope you wouldn't support this kind of aggressive tactic. Now, by all means, send out a letter, tell people what the law is, and tell people that they, remind them that they need a license if they watch or record live TV, etc. But the way that these are worded, and I've had thousands of them sent to me over the last 4 years, all sorts of threats of coming around and risking prosecution and fines and all of this sort of stuff. I think this, personally, my personal view is I think this is an abuse of a piece of legislation that is in desperate need of either changing or scrapping completely, at least in that part. Because I think if you're going to watch and record live TV, that's just a choice. I don't think that warrants a license for it. But if you want to support the BBC, they should have a subscription fee. Or, that they should move to another revenue model that supports that. Now, I know this has been talked about for years, but these letters here, they so often skew the truth. And in some of my videos, I've said that, in my view, I think they are flat out wrong. Now, here, I can see that they've referred to live TV here and live TV here, which is correct. And live TV here, which is correct. It's not quite correct when it says everything on BBC iPlayer, because not that I am fully familiar with everything that's on BBC iPlayer, but I know from their own website that S4C is on the BBC iPlayer, and you don't need a license for that, according to TV licensing website. But a lot of these letters are just inaccurate or incorrect. Like when they say everything, I mean, even this, in the strictest sense, it's correct because it says live TV. But when it says watch live TV on streaming services like YouTube, Channel 4, Amazon Prime, etc., many people, I dare say, will think that that means everything on YouTube. If it's live on YouTube, you need a license, which is, of course, not true. Because if I do a live stream, I don't do many of them anymore. I used to do them every week, in fact, but then I used to lose subscribers when I did live streams. So I don't do all that often. But if you were to watch me live, or say Andy Signal live, or even Charlie Veach live, obligatory tags in the comments now that I've mentioned them, if you watch any of them live, you don't need a TV license because they are not a TV station. But it's still ambiguous whether you do or not, because when I contacted the press office and I said, please give me a list or define to me what makes somebody an independent creator or whatever, what makes them a TV station for the purposes of this legislation, they said they can't define it and they don't have a list. So if they don't have a list and they can't define it, all they said is most independent creators would most likely not be a TV station for the purposes of legislation, and therefore you wouldn't require a license. But even that is a little bit ambiguous. And so not that many people, I would think, engage a lawyer in defense in going for one of these if they're being prosecuted for this offense. If a lawyer were to get involved, they would surely say, I would surely say, this is an ambiguity if there is no list that defines who is or is not a TV station. Now, obviously, Sky and ITV, etc., they are all quite clearly TV licensed companies. But what about everybody else? That's a little bit ambiguous. But coming back to the point here, I don't think this is just my opinion here. They say that this was an error and they apologize. I don't think this was an error. I think there must have been, logically, a reason. It's more likely than not, there must have been at least some human intervention in the preparing, the printing, the posting of these letters. I may be wrong. It may be entirely automated, and the system may have just generated a letter on that day that says there's a 10-day window that expires on the 25th of December. But here's another strange thing. You may have noticed in the top right-hand side here, this was sent, or at least dated, on the 4th of December. I don't know that it was sent on that day, but let's say that it was sent on that day, especially if it's an automated process. One would think that they are printed and sent on the same day or the next day. So let's give that a 2 or 3 day leeway. So it was either posted on the 4th or maybe the 5th, 6th at a stretch. Let's say it takes 2 days to arrive. Even then, you can add 10 days to the 8th and give that 4 days from when this was dated. That brings us to the 18th, not the 25th. That's another 7 days after the 18th. So where's the 10-day window coming from? They say, we are giving you a 10-day window to get correctly licensed, but it was been sent on the 4th of December. So or it's been dated the 4th of December. But so even if it was sent on the 4th, the 5th or the 6th, and it took 2 or 3 days perhaps to arrive, and you add 10 days to that, we are still only between the 18th, maybe the 21st or the 22nd, not the 25th. So where's the 10-day window starting from? So I think this was deliberate. I think it was a deliberate attempt to intimidate people that they know will be watching TV, if at all, that it'll be on Christmas Day with family and whatever. I think it was deliberate. Let me know what you think in the comments. That's what I think. It's just my opinion, and I don't think it's acceptable. But as I say, just as a reminder, check out my website, BlackBeltBarrister.com. There's a monthly membership package where I'm dumping on there exclusive content, access to chatbots will help you draft letters, trained by me on hundreds of pieces of regulations, bylaws, previous decisions in the case of parking appeals and things like that. Check that out. It's only $14.99 a month. I think that's good value. Let me know what you think. Please do like the video and subscribe. And in the meantime, Merry Christmas.